Hello everyone, welcome to our channel. In this video, we are going to discuss about the AWS config. So, see, it is a tool where you can uh, set up the restrictions and also so uh, set up the rules between the services. Okay, configuration based on your requirement. You can set up the configurations for all of your S3 buckets or anything. So you can set up the rules. So config is a service that continuously monitors and records AWS resources configurations, enabling compliance auditing, security analysis, and change tracking. It helps in evaluating the configuration of AWS resources against desired settings using AWS config rules. So here is an example. I'll explain later. So imagine you want to ensure that all S3 buckets in your AWS account are private. You can create an AWS config rule to check bucket permissions. If a bucket is found to be public, AWS config will flag it as non-compliant and can trigger an AWS Lambda function to remediate the issue. So, see, somebody is see, we have set up the config rules often in EC2 instance or any S3 bucket. So we can set up the rules, okay, so that if other person who is also having the access, so as per the organization settings, so you can create these kind of S3 buckets only, okay, so only to certain limit he can make the changes. Otherwise, if he is doing beyond that, so config rule will get the, like, it will flag as a non-compliant. Okay, it will trigger. So we can set up the organization rules using the AWS config. So just like somebody is coming outside, so he is not related to your office, so it will, so he can't enter inside, right? So to secure purposes, so we use the config. For example, in your organization, certain people have access to certain floors, but you can restrict them. So that in the same way, so we can also make the rules using the AWS config on AWS account for all the resources. So that is very simple. So to know about the AWS config, this is about, like, in a simple terminology. So we can also check, so how can we create the config rules and all. Let's get started. So resource types with customizable overrides, specific resource types. So we'll go with the default one. AWS config will only record the resource type that you specify. So yeah, the specific records for a, anyhow we are trying, right? So we'll check. So here the continuous monitoring or daily monitoring, the frequency, if we can set up the continuous, it will be tracking if somebody changes anything. So then it will notify immediately. It will trigger immediately. If we can set daily, so it will after 20, every 24 hours it will track the resources. So IAM, if we need to give the IAM role to communicate with your resource. So AWS config needs to access to your the resource, like EC2 instance or S3 bucket. It needs to have the access. Let us give the okay, got it. And we can set up continuous and choose a role from your account. Create AWS config service linked role. Create S3 bucket. Well, let's give the unique name for the S3 bucket. Next, so here are the managed rules. So you can also check the description. So what are the specific rules and how they can implement. Okay, rule check whether AWS account is part of AWS organizations. The rule is non-compliant if the AWS account is not part of AWS organizations, or AWS organizations master ID does not match rule parameter master account ID. So you can check all the descriptions and all the rules. So based on the your requirement, you can set up anything. For if you want HTTP, so you can go with the ALB HTTP one. You can, if you want REST API one, so you can pick the API rule. Okay, based on your requirement. So we here we have the clear explanation about what you need exactly. So with delivery method, we have created the S3 bucket, right? Then config rule, which rule we are going to apply. Click on confirm. Once you click on confirm, it will be set. The rule will be set up. So that's about the AWS config. So thank you so much for watching this video. So I hope it will help you. Please do like, subscribe, and comment for more recommendations for the content. Thank you so much, guys.